Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. This is the Living World of Darkness, the Changeling venue, Kingdom of Apples. Tonight we find ourselves on Roosevelt Island in the East River in New York City at Hart's Garage and Bar, which is a level 3 freehold in the Kingdom of Apples. Currently it is a commoner freehold, not a place that she are necessarily especially welcome or even wanted. Predominantly the kits that you will find there will be Red Cap and Knocker, and of course the occasional Puka due to its owner. Currently the owner is Lancaster Hart, who is he's there. He'll be inside handling whatever he's handling. Currently kind of waiting to see if certain tree actually shows up with his car.
Excuse me, I'm a fern.
Yes, see if Fern shows up with his car or not, after he had to go and drag the bear out of the bar before it got killed by a rock. Don't ask. Long story.
It's a very intimidating rock.
Yes, it was.
And think of the devil, and you hear a beep beep outside of the bar.
Okay. After a few moments, Lancaster will come walking out to the valet ropes. The two valets probably were giving you a couple of side glances as you're in the boss's car. But when he comes walking out, they just kind of like look at him and he'll nod, and one of them will take the keys from you and drive the car away.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll you notice that he's not taking you towards the big area of the bar. There's a smaller area that looks almost is almost the you would assume it's the garage area.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You probably notice, or he probably notices that Valeria looks a bit flustered. Like, not super flustered, but there's still a little bit of what's probably brown, because green and red do not make a pretty color when mixed. But just a little bit of brown on her cheeks.
okay. He will kind of walk beside you, smiling, kind of looking around. Definitely doesn't want to start discussing things with the Appearance 5 woman in the middle of the street, or even in the middle of his own parking lot. And then once they get inside, he'll smile and kind of take her over to the office there in the building. She can tell, being Faye, that this is still part of the freehold. She can feel the balefire and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a warm area. And he'll, instead of taking you to the office, he'll take you out on the back. There's like a back porch area where you can kind of see out into over the East River. And look at you, and he'll smile. So, you seem completely at home.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a nice place.
He'll smile. It's definitely just a garbage heap. I really hate this place.
Oh yeah, I know. It's absolute shit, total shit. Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives you a little bit of a side eye.
She giggles after she says that.
He just kind of smiles and says, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure absolutely nothing happened after I left, especially considering that you look so happy.
Well, happy is not the word I would use. Awkward would be more appropriate. Let's just say that I may have sarcastically flipped my hair at someone's comment, and someone may have taken it the wrong way. And yeah, I had to get out there real quick before shenanigans happened.
I'm sure that whoever this was, absolutely had no reason to care why you were flipping your hair. I'm sure they really could care less.
No, okay, so Dimitri said that I was learning to belly dance for me was overkill, because apparently I'm so good looking now. And so, I sarcastically flipped my hair like, oh yes, I'm so attractive, blah blah blah. Dramatic hair flip. And I guess it got Ismay a little bit hot and bothered, and yeah, didn't really want to go any further than that. And she's now much more brown. That the blush is much more. And
He smiles.
there may have been mention of mating.
You look absolutely horrid when you blush like that. He kind of reaches up and will kind of brush a cheek with his thumb. Ismay is not the kind of closes his eyes like he's thinking the Fuath woman. Not at all.
Yes, she is. Although her plumage has changed. She used to be, a colourful peacock, a peahen, I guess. And
No,
now
I don't remember that at all.
I know, right? And now her feathers are white, which I don't know.
I'm sure someone asked her why.
I did, but we couldn't exactly say, outright, because there were some other people didn't know who they were.
I don't know. I'm always in that situation. No one ever comes here that doesn't belong here, although we all have to make sacrifices in the end.
Oh, really? What sacrifices have you made, Mr. Hart?
It's my favorite thing, Oh, well, let's see. Life with my unborn son, my mother's heart over an altar. He's getting a little bit of a smile at the corner of his lips. Let's see. No, yes, all those are sacrifices that I've made, definitely.
A little bit dark there, but okay.
He kind of smiles a little bit, probably a little bit wider than he should at that. Well, you could certainly, I could really care less that you're here, and I have absolutely no gratitude whatsoever for you bringing my car back.
I'm actually curious why you asked. You didn't use your car to haul Sir Sergei off.
Well, you didn't drive the car, so Bear, that car would have just been the perfect mating of, and plus, leather seats and claws they just go together like, peas and carrots. I mean, it's the best thing ever. So, I mean, I'm sure that
peas and carrots don't even go together. What are you saying?
I'm certain that's not any kind of a saying that I've heard ever.
Is it? That's a stupid saying. They don't go together.
Well, it's something that I've never heard.
Peas is disgusting.
I quite abhor them myself. I'm quite the carnivore.
No, I could tell by the whole, stag thing.
He smiles
They are
as well.
such avid carnivores, always eating little
Absolutely.
rabbits and squirrels.
Absolutely. I mean, we give lions runs for their money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They
yes.
really do.
So, we've never spoken before, and definitely, I personally could really care less about seeing you again. However, I have no sense of formality and could care less really of your feelings or those of your family. So I really have, no interest in knowing who, if I wanted to see you formally, I should talk to about such things.
She's gonna kind of look at you. It's like, wait, did he really just say that? Kind of look away bashfully. And her face is, yep, she is blushing like a motherfucker. Because
You'll smile.
motherfuckers are very known. They're known for their blushing. Uh,
Yes.
uh, mm, um,
And he's going to smile. He's like, well, I obviously could really care less how you would feel about something like that, as he uses his birthright. Yay, eat that. Div 5. Oh, look.
oh my
That
god,
is
damn.
that is 5 things that you need to tell me that are very personal about how you would feel about something like that.
Oh god.
As he just smiles and listens.
Well, I'm quite fond of you and quite attracted to you, so be very happy about that. Though I'm unsure of who you would have to speak to about it because, well, I'm adopted and I don't know who my parents are, and isn't courtship rather traditional? Like, she traditional? It seems kind of strange, or at least strange to me, that two commoners would, you know, be in a formal courtship.
He smiles. Uh, I personally could really, I have never really been interested in etiquette and have been brought up as a child of the streets. So I don't care to do anything the correct way. Um, Now I understand, I knew all the time that you were, unaware of who your parents were, and I'm sure that your brother doesn't know. Um, so that makes, absolutely no sense. So that really makes it so that I could really care less because, I mean, I would certainly want to offend anybody that, has no chance absolutely ever of showing up and absolutely have no idea who they could be. So I definitely don't think that it matters whatsoever. Plus, I mean, who cares about your honor? I mean, I certainly don't. And, just because I don't really think of, you know, the she. I just think of good manners.
I guess you could ask my adoptive mother. She's Canaan, and I guess she's my parent. So my brother probably isn't the best person since, he hasn't been through his year in a day and he doesn't understand this stuff. But to be honest, I don't think my parents are alive. My birth parents, that is. It's a long story, and I mean,
He just kind of nods. I am really in a hurry. Have no time.
um, well, I don't actually remember anything from before God, sometime around when I was 5, I just kind of woke up one night in the street with I was bleeding from my back and from my head, and there was this random cat with me. I was scared shitless. And so I kind of wandered around, not really knowing where I was going, and once I really couldn't walk anymore, I just sat down somewhere on a beach with my kitten, and my brother found me there, and I didn't know English yet, so we kind of had to pantomime what we were saying to each other for a while, and he eventually got me back to father, who, patched me up and, took me in as one of his own.
He kind of smiles and he kind of reaches out and he'll take her hand in his and place his other hand over the top of it. And he's like, none of that means anything to me. And it definitely has nothing, absolutely nothing in the way of meaning. And I would really like it for you to just leave, and I would never like to see you again. So, as you have all of this family, and I have none, and he kind of looks around and gestures towards, obviously gesturing towards all the changelings that are around, and the bar, and all the people that he works with, lives with. You're never welcome here again. You will never have a place here. And I really could care less to see you again. As well as, on the other hand, I do not really still want to no, I really don't want to know who I should talk to about seeing you formally. It doesn't, it should be your brother. It doesn't have to be.
It should be my brother, really, because he's the man of the house. And you can tell she's joking. And, when you're telling her, like, oh, you can come here and you can stay and whatever, she's kind of take her hand from between yours and then just kind of hug you.
He's a little stiff in the hug. Definitely. It wasn't something that he was expecting. But he will, after a moment, kind of return the hug and, kind of embrace you warmly and smile. Well, it's a good thing that, it's a good thing that we're surrounded by so many people. He kind of gives her a smile.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to roll to see if she says it. Because, okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there's somewhere more private we could go.
He raises a brow. There's really nowhere here that anyone could go if they wanted to be around more people. However, even though I have no inclination towards that whatsoever, I do think that it would probably be better if we go extremely fast and jump right into this, because, things that last, they always go really fast. And as I am, I've been racing cars for many years, at least a day. I know nothing about going fast. And again, I have already asked to see you formally, so that is definitely something that would make me want to move quickly, because I could really care less about ever seeing you again, or, you know, people finding out that you've never been here before and that things have never happened here. And he'll smile.
Valeria's grinning, like, from ear to ear. I simply meant so we could talk, and she puts emphasis on talk, very innocently, in private.
He kind of looks around, and there's literally nobody around them on the deck. But he's like, "Oh, all right. That's exactly what I was thinking as well." He smiles, and he'll gesture towards back towards the garage area. I don't have any place here. I mean, this is completely not where I live or my house, and I have nothing here and no stake in this place whatsoever. So, you know, I think we should leave. But instead, he starts walking towards back towards the bar area, or not the bar, but the garage area.
She's gonna giggle, and under her breath, which you can do a perception alertness, I guess, she's gonna say, "Cheeky bastard."
He is a good listener.
Oh, fuck!
If that has nothing to do with actual listening, it actually lowers the difficulty on his birthright. I get that to 5 instead of 6.
Noise.
Yeah. But nah, he just, even if he hears it, he won't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to roll. So they'll walk back inside. He'll pick up the phone, and you hear him cussing at somebody loudly through the phone. "No, I don't want anything to fucking drink. Fuck you and your mother and your sister. No. No. Absolutely not. No. You tell that motherfucker when I see him, I'm going to put my foot in his ass. I love you too." He hangs up.
Blink, blink, blink.
He smiles. "I'm not getting us anything to drink, and I don't have any knockers that work for me, so they all, you know, talk with extreme care and etiquette."
Ah. Okay, then.
He smiles. You've lived your entire life around knockers, haven't you?
Oh, yes, my entire life. Mm-hmm.
Mm. They are awful creatures. I really am not fond of them whatsoever. Could really care less, especially about Taryn. I quite despise the young man.
Oh, how could you hate Tyrion Lannister?
Yes, well, he and I don't get along at all. He doesn't work on my cars for me or anything like that. He's just an awful general person, and you know, I could really enjoy seeing him die in a fire. But other than that, yeah, he's really just a real pain in the ass to be around. So, despite the fact of his gracious manners and well-mannered speech patterns, and, you know, love for all things cute and cuddly.
Yes, very well mannered. Especially
Yes.
when he was talking about how he wanted to fuck me.
Well, he's never told me that either. So I would definitely take it personally. Not that you aren't completely hideous and fairly odoriferous in stench and sight, of course.
I know, I'm just hideous, aren't I?
Absolutely. And after a few minutes, a knock will come on the door, and a knocker will come in and put down a couple of waters and a bottle of wine and a thing and everything, and the the ice bucket, and then he kind of gives you a look and raises a brow, and Lancaster very, very blatantly gives him the middle finger, and he'll close the door behind him, giggling. He'll smile and say, "Well, it's fairly certain that no one will ever know you were here now."
Of course, it's very secretive. There's no way that knocker would tell anyone.
Well, the awful thing about the entire situation is the people here are not loyal to me whatsoever. So while the people that are here would never know that you were here, the people outside of here will absolutely know within minutes.
Oh, how scandalous.
Well, I am quite the scandalous person. I have absolutely no inclinations towards anything outside of being a bar owner and a garage runner.
I'm sure you would make a very pretty lord.
That's entirely what I was looking to do. I'm not looking to change things away from things such as that at all.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
feudalism is such a great concept. It's it's worked for so many centuries past the Middle Ages. He kind of shakes his head, rolls his eyes. It makes complete sense why we still use it. It, is easy, straightforward. Everybody gets a say. I mean, it works so well these days. There's nothing, no reason to change.
Of course, no reason at all.
But I'm sure that the fact that I've dedicated my life to changing it will, I'm sure it'll have no effect whatsoever. So, but I could really care less how you feel about something like that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess the idea of feudalism is somewhat still romanticized in my mind. It's still or not fairies, but still princesses and princes and kings and queens and King Arthur and that kind of thing. But
He smiles.
I don't know. I guess it has its place, but perhaps not. I don't know.
He smiles and nods when he says it has its place. He's like, absolutely not. It's not the basis of what everything that we are. It's not something that, it's definitely, something that we should entirely get rid of. There should be, all the knights and all that. That's entirely what I'm talking about. But as far as ruling and, actually staying away from guiding our people, there's really, no reason to change from it. It's such a beautiful system. It has, really stood the test of time. And, it's just something that really, there's nothing better out there and no reason for anybody to even think there might be. So,
I mean, what do you propose? An elective monarchy instead of just an average one?
well, to be honest, which I always am,
Of course.
I would definitely, never think of anything along the any kind of almost gestures towards you in a familiar type way, and along the British lines where with a monarchy, remaining in place. King
More as a
David is
figurehead.
awful, and then but the actual running of society would not be left to the Parliament.
But would the king have a say in Parliament? Because really, in England, the Queen is more of a figurehead than an actual politician.
No, that's not the case at all. But I really think that the king, he could, he really, I think, at this point, should take a more firm hand and not let those that obviously are more suited, to actually running a kingdom or a government due to merit other than to
Beth?
I wasn't going to say that at all. I was probably going to say something about his mother or something, I'm sure.
Ah, of course.
But so hopefully that's definitely what, not anything related to what one day I hope to change, or at the very least allow it to remain the same.
Well, I do have to say you have quite a visionary way of thinking.
Well, yeah, I'm entirely boring and really could care less.
Oh, you're so
But
very boring. I don't even know why I'm here right now.
he smiles. Mm, I definitely know why you're here, but I know everything about women, so he smiles a little bit.
I do probably know more about women than you do. Probably.
He kind of rolls his eyes. He's like, "Oh, I don't know about that. Me and women go way back."
Yes, I'm sure you're quite the player. Just a
Yes,
real Don Juan.
I would use Don Juan. Certainly wouldn't use more like, let's see, Snoop Dogg. Yes, absolutely.
Snoop Dogg.
Mm, mm,
Choice.
mm. Well, gin and juice and all that.
Yes, he's just so sexy.
He's like, and speaking of, and he'll reach up and pour 2 drinks and then offer you one.
Is the drink the wine or the
It's
water?
wine. It's the wine.
Oh, Mr. Hart trying to get me drunk on the first date, are we?
You read me like a book.
Well, if you insist, and she'll take the glass of wine.
Okay.
Take a
He
little sip
will.
out of it.
He will take his own and then kind of raise it towards her and say, "Definitely not to you or your stench."
Oh, you really like the way I smell, don't you?
Hmm. It seems to go along with your hideous nature. Absolutely. And after raising a glass, he'll drink it as well. Pardon me.
And to your good looks and magnificent rack. She lifts her glass up and takes another sip.
He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit and winks. Now, and I'm fairly sure I didn't hear this correctly. You know absolutely everything about your past?
I have what's called retrograde amnesia. So it means that, past a certain point, I really can't remember anything from my past.
Hmm. And you've obviously never seen a doctor because of this? And
Well,
they've not
my
said...
father's a doctor, and I mean, he stitched me up, but I never really mentioned it to him.
That's entirely boring. And you know exactly where you woke up. Or I should say, I know exactly where you woke up.
God, it was somewhere in Southern Ireland, if I can remember correctly.
And you had no injuries whatsoever.
Well, like I said, I was bleeding from my head, so that's probably how I got the amnesia by hitting it somewhere. That's usually how you get it, from what
Well,
I know.
definitely no one could have hit you.
Well, yeah. I don't really know who would hit a 5-year-old in the head, but then again, I don't know who would do this to a 5-year-old. And then she kind of turns around, takes off whatever jacket she's wearing, and you can see where her wings come out of her back, there are cold iron scars, just running down where her wings start and end.
Mm. You hear him a sharp intake of breath, and he'll you kind of feel his hands kind of wrap around your shoulders in a kind of a reassuring gesture, and he'll help you slide. He'll reach down and help you slide your jacket or whatever it is back on, and kind of move up behind you and wrap his arms around you and just hold you for a minute.
And she'll kind of lean her head back on his chest or wherever, whatever body part her head comes up to, because she's probably pretty short and you're probably pretty tall.
Mm-hmm. And after a moment, he'll turn around and kind of do that thing that he did before, where he kind of runs a thumb across her cheekbone,
and she blushes a little bit more, just a little bit.
And he'll cup her hand, her face in his hand for a moment. He'll smile, and then he'll kind of move away again. He'll take a seat on the side of his
She'll
desk.
look a little bit unhappy when he moves his hand away.
It's like, well, since this is not going to be official or proper or anything, technically we shouldn't have any sort of chaperone when we see each other. At least not until definitely not after it's been announced or formal. He kind of, you can see there's definite sadness in his face about this, but he's kind of, you see a little bit of determination as well to do things right, I guess you'd say.
Oh, why ever would we need a chaperone? It's not as if we could do anything too scandalous. And she's going to kind of sit down next to him, fairly close to him.
He'll smile.
she's making sure that her face is just a little bit closer than it should be.
He'll smile and kind of look over at her and say, well, definitely through the years, it's not a problem at all for young men and young women to be alone without someone around. Nothing could ever happen. No one could ever cast aspirations or say anything amongst the gossip mill as to what might have happened between two people when they had so many people around them. So again, as I could care less about your reputation at all, I really want everyone to think you're just, a slut who throws her ankles behind her head at the first mention of a man who lets her. Smiles.
Well, I don't have that reputation yet. Though I'm sure if you went back to England, you would hear of my exploits. And she's just going to kind of lean towards him a little bit more.
He raises a brow. I would absolutely not like to hear anything about things that might have happened before. And he'll actually kind of slide about a half a foot away from her at that point and look at her.
Well, I will say that you don't have to be jealous of other men.
An eyebrow will raise.
I was quite popular with the ladies at my all-girls private school. And as she says this, she's like, her voice gets a little bit softer as she speaks, and she kind of puts her chin on her like fist or whatever, and starts looking away.
He does get one. Okay, so he gets it. I thought for a minute he wasn't going to get it, but he got it. Okay. All right. So perception, empathy. He got one success, so he gets where she's meaning. And he raises an eyebrow. He's like, "Well, I definitely don't want to hear anything about you and young ladies kissing in the shower." And I'm sure
I never said
happened.
anything about showers, although it did happen.
Don't care, make it up. He smiles. And he'll actually, at this point, he'll lean over. And you said she had kind of turned away from him a little bit?
A little bit, like
Okay.
kind of trying to make it so he didn't hear that little last part.
He'll kind of lean over and kind of take her shoulder gently and kind of turn her back towards him and smile and say, "That's, what you did before you met me is absolutely the most important thing to me ever. So as long as you are still absolutely just head over heels in love with those that came before me, I really care all about that and really am focused on that, because our future together really means nothing. So who cares? I really think that, I'm going to go back to Ireland and kill them all." He smiles.
Well, it wasn't Ireland, it was Britain. Thank you very much. I wish it was Ireland. That little side, she kind of turns her head again to the side when she says that and looks back at you when she finishes saying it. No flames that may rekindle, I don't think. Right now I'm looking at the beginnings of a new flame. Perhaps even a bonfire.
He raises a brow. He's like, So I'm definitely going to have to kill the white fluff then.
Oh yes, no, you should definitely kill her. I'm
I
not
see.
interested in you at all. You're not the bonfire.
That makes absolutely no sense.
I know, right? Oh, you just don't get the wrong idea. I'm totally not attracted to you. I don't. I do not want to touch you at all.
He rolls his eyes a little bit. You'll reach over and you see him. He just takes one finger and puts it like a half an inch from her side and just sits there with it, just like that, looking at her. I mean, literally, it's like half an inch just sitting there.
Are you waiting for permission?
Absolutely. He smiles for a moment and then he'll take his hand away. And he'll stand up and he'll move around the desk and he sits down and he'll pull out a piece of paper and an actual quill pen with an inkwell out of a desk. And you'll see him start writing something really quickly. And then he'll take a small box out with some sand in it and sprinkle it over it and then blow on it to dry it for a moment. And then shake the sand off back into the box and wrap it up and walk around, back around the desk, and he'll hand it to her and he'll say, this is not important at all. You'll never need anything here. So this makes sure that the people that are here know that they should never give you anything ever. And even if I'm here, obviously.
Okay, then I'll make sure to shred this when I get home.
Absolutely.
And she carefully kind of folds it up and puts it into her pocket.
And he'll smile. Now, I really don't want to know how to get in touch with your brother because I really could care less. I mean, we could take years before anyone allowed us to make something official.
Well, I'm still not sure why you wanted to be my brother, but do you have some pen and paper I can write on?
He looks back over to the desk to where she just saw him pull paper and pen out.
I know she's being cheeky little shit.
He'll walk back around, smiling, giving her the dubious look. He'll open the desk and pull out a piece of paper and the inkwell and the quill and the box, and he'll slide it across to her. I'm sure you absolutely have no idea how to use that.
I know how to use it. I'm a huge fucking nerd. Of course I know how to use it. And then she writes down her brother's phone number and their address. And then puts like a little heart right next to the address, like just a little cute heart.
That definitely brings an eye roll of a little bit. It's like, I'm so glad I have no work to do.
Oh, well, I would completely hate to keep you from work.
I absolutely was talking about you.
Yes, I can be quite a handful, I'm sure. Wink.
Not at all. Not even multiples, I'm sure. And with that, he kind of moves back around and will continue drinking his wine. And with that, I think we will go ahead and close. Thank you. I don't think anybody watched, but they might later.
Well,
So,
what losers?
Yes. And we will say goodnight as we leave the office with the two people drinking wine and continuing to talk.
They ain't gonna bang. Nope.
It's not going to happen tonight.
Not tonight.